Iowa tonight. We have a producer with him, and if he says anything, he's at a barbecue in Iowa tonight after this event. If he says anything about this, we will turn it around as quickly as possible. You say there's a burden on Governor Perry to say more, David Gergen. How does Governor Romney, though, deal with this in this age of the internet and the blogosphere and everything else? This will be circulated far and wide, especially into places like Iowa and especially South Carolina. There's a new poll out tonight in New Hampshire. WMUR has Mitt Romney way ahead in New Hampshire. If he can hold that, do decent in Iowa, win New Hampshire, he really needs to win South Carolina, and he's on his way. That is going to be the biggest question mark.
John, I think in the context of tomorrow, he doesn't want to continue stirring this controversy up. He's now going to be asked about it in some interviews, and then he needs to address it. And I think he'll have answers that will be persuasive for most Americans, probably not all. It may be that sometime later in the campaign, just as John Kennedy had to give a speech, as you remember, in Texas, to Christian ministers. It was a really compelling speech about his religious faith, just as Barack Obama eventually had to give a speech about the best speeches of his life in Philadelphia about his relationship with Reverend Wright. It may be that Governor Romney is going to need to do a speech later on, but I don't think this is the time. Actually, so far, this issue hasn't arisen, even though it's bubbling below the surface, because there's so much distress about jobs. And I think that I doubt it's going to be a major issue in the campaign regardless.
You agree with that?
Well, it's an issue for Rick Perry now. It's a character issue. Again, I don't think he causes, I don't believe for a minute he put this pastor up to it, so I don't condemn him. But he should have acted by now. He wants to be a leader. And a leader has to stand for principle. And an American leader has to stand for the principle of religious tolerance and say, you know, the Constitution was right in Article 6, Section 3. There's no religious test. And it's not in our American tradition. Go look at what John F. Kennedy said about the Mormon Church. 50 years ago, he was praising that church because he understood that you know, the Winner's Circle of America had to include every religion and no religion.
Paul Begala, David Gergen, Ed Rollins, appreciate you helping this breaking news story tonight. When we come back, the day's other big news, including a jobs report that most months we would say, oh my God, that's horrible. Yet this month, better than expected.